All right, ladies and
Howdy.
gentlemen. Oh, welcome to Crossing the Streams. This is the renowned show where we discuss TV shows and movies that you should be streaming on your favorite streaming platforms. We are currently streaming in 6,742 countries. That's right. And number one, we lost a couple. And currently ranking in the top 10 in 82 states. So we're extremely excited to be here. We have multiple Kevins. We had multiple Brians a couple episodes ago. So we thought we'd bring in a couple Kevins this time. We're going to let them kick off with this theme song. This should be interesting. Mr. Gootee, take it away.
Here's the story of some lonely fellows who spend way too much time watching the TV. All of them have jobs and friends. Well, not really. Just between you and me.
They made a live show out of their hobby. Every TV watcher's TV watching dream. Jeff and Ron and Sal and Bob, and there's Howard. They call it Crossing Streams. Sorry.
And then one day they went live on all the platforms. You can hear all the people laugh and shout and scream. Still can't find another word that rhymes with platform. But man, we crossed the streams.
We crossed
the streams. We crossed the streams.
That's the way you do it. We cross the streams. Da da da.
I want to thank you both for. I've never heard something phoned in as well as you phoned it in.
Inspiring. That was inspiring.
It was. It was, and it was like the dueling styles. It was. I enjoyed it.
And that's what makes our podcast.
Yes. What? Sing it or tell a story. Lovely. You're inspiring our audience. Hey, Geri. Welcome to the show. Thank you very much. Hey, Lee. Welcome to the show. We get some regulars. You know how it is. What can you do? Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Crossing the Streams. We're excited. We got an amazing show. We've got two fantastic guests today. The best Kevins in the business. Kevin Israel, Kevin Gootee from Gutting the Sacred Cow, one of the top podcasts in the world, ranks number 6 in the world. Kevin Israel, you go first. Tell us a little bit about yourself and the podcast.
Hey guys, thanks for having us. Kevin Israel. I'm a stand-up comedian out of New Jersey, and I am the co-host of Gutting the Sacred Cow podcast with the host and creator Kevin Gootee. The podcast each week we bring on a guest to the podcast whose job it is to pick a beloved, financially successful, or critically acclaimed film and take it down. They have to pick a movie that you love and argue why they think it's crap and convince us to see their way. And if they do, they get nothing, but they get our respect and the ability to say that they gutted a sacred cow. It's a lot of fun. We're on episode 84, I think, 85.
Something like that.
And it's been a blast. We've covered all movies from E.T. to Godfather to Rocky to Gone with the Wind. We just taped Citizen Kane, so it's we cover everything.
Has anybody done the Snyder cut of Justice League?
No, not allowed. Does not qualify.
Agreed.
Thank you.
What's a complaint to Gone with the Wind? Not racist enough.
No, and John Fugelsang did that from VH1 Sirius XM.
I can't believe you just dropped John Fugelsang's name like it's nothing.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
Listen, we have top-tier guests, and you guys have top-tier guests, namely us two. But John's argument was it was racist. We'll go, well, John, that's the whole fucking point of the story because it takes place during Reconstruction in the South after the Civil War. So, but it's a shitty film. Other than that, the characters, there's no characters you like. It drags. Yes, at the time, we can see why people loved it. It was very grand. It's very opulent in its cinematography, but the story just drags. The characters just suck. And you walk out watching that going, who gives a shit?
There's an intermission. That's all you need to know.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Well, welcome both Kevins to the show.
Thank
Did you introduce yourself, Kevin, or just Israel? Or did you just jump
Israel
in?
did. That's fine. I'm Kevin.
No,
Gootee,
go, Kevin.
How's it going? Kevin Israel forgot to mention if you do got the Sacred Cow, you get a copy of the fabulous home game. Remember that game show you get as a consolation prize a copy of the home game? They don't do that
and a year's
anymore.
supply of rice-a-roni.
Yeah,
or turtle wax,
or a grandfather clock. But anyway, Kevin Gootee, I'm a comic as well up in Northeast Jersey. I work in Manhattan a lot, and I have a few other projects I had. I did watching comics on Amazon Video that ran for 8 seasons, trying to get out of corporate America. So guys, buy my shows and get our podcast on a network where we can make some real fortune and glory. Right, kids? Right.
Amen.
Sacredcow.com is where you can find all of our links to all of our platforms that we're on. We're also on YouTube. And give us a looky-loo.
All right. Oh, awesome. Well, we're excited to have you. So real quick for everyone, last week on Crossing the Streams, we talked about Norseman, an amazing comedy, The Present, Night of the Comet, one of my favorite 80s movies, and The World According to Jeff Goldblum. This week's episode is a showstopper. We've got some amazing things for you. We got Geri, Haji. We got Barb and Star go to Vista Del Mar. We have Greater, which is a football thing. We got Army of the Dead. Zack Snyder has done it again, ladies and gentlemen, or has he? And Invincible, the animated show on Amazon. So those are some exciting things coming up in this episode. But first, we're going to dive into the Netflix with Zach Wiseman. Ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, this actually, barking dog?
Maybe. I'm not sure. I'll shut the window just in case. So anyway, if you don't know what I'm doing, I charged myself with watching the Netflix top 10 in the US every day. This is a very weird category that just showed up on Netflix not too long ago. And what the metrics say is that the most watched things yesterday show up on this thing today. So I really just dive into what this garbage usually is that people watch on Netflix. So the top 10 today, let's see. Number 10, you have a very cool movie called Sabotage. It's been on for 6 days now. It is directed and co-written by David Ayer. If you don't know, David Ayer is the guy who directed Bright and Fury, also Suicide Squad with a K, also wrote Training Day. It stars Arnold Schwarzenegger, Sam Worthington, Terrence Howard, Joe Manganiello, Sawyer from Lost, and pretty much it's about the members of an elite DEA task force that find themselves being taken down one at a time after they rob a drug cartel in a safe house. This movie is weird. It is very action heavy, it is very gory, and it is not very good. Apparently it's based on a book written by someone called Agatha Christie, which I think they apparently they used to write murder novels. I don't know how that turned into Schwarzenegger shooting shotgun shells in people's faces and it blows up Tarantino style. But pretty much the movie starts with a DEA team and they're robbing a drug lord. They find like this room full of $2 billion. They steal $10 million of it, and then they blow the room up to cover all their things. I don't know why they did this. The very next scene, they're all being interrogated for the $10 million that they stole. I don't know how anyone knew about that, and that really confused me the entire time. It is just blood and shooting, and not very good. So skip it if you want. Let's see. Number 9, Mitchell's vs. the Machines. Awesome movie. Please check it out if you haven't seen it. Number 8, Jupiter's Legacy. Very weird, comic booky something. Probably deserves to be on the CW. Number 7, Upshaws. Like I said, it is funny. I like Wanda Sykes, so watch it. Number 6 is Startup. Kind of stupid. Don't care about this show. It's about computer stuff. I talked about it before, so we're going to move on. Number 5, Jurassic World, which is this weird new Camp Cretaceous. It is an animated series that is set in the Lost World universe, so it kind of ties in with the Chris Pratt stuff. It is now in season 3, and it's about 6 teens as they attend an adventure camp on the opposite side of Ilsa Nublar, and they must band together to survive when dinosaurs wreak havoc on the island. It's fine, actually. It's pretty good. It's set in the same universe, so you know that means that humans make stupid decisions, and they really don't get in trouble for it. You take that and take the blood and the gore away, and you have this thing. So there's still a lot of that suspense, but also just stupid decision making. Number 4, Cocomelon. 215 days this thing is sitting on the top 10. I think I'm gonna have to watch it again. I don't know. I don't know what's up with this cartoon. Number 3, you have Who Killed Sarah? It's a TV show. I talked about this before a month ago maybe, but season 2 just came out. Once again, this is a Mexican telenovela. It's created by Jose Ignacio Valenzuela. It stars Manolo Cardona. It's good if you're into the telenovela style. It is very dramatic. It is aggressively over the top. Season 2 starts off with a corpse that's found in the backyard, and then you got to figure it out from there. It's fine. Number 2, the biggest steamy pile of shit that I had to go through is this thing. Sorry for cussing, but this it's called Home. If you don't know, it came out a couple years ago. It is directed and written by Tim Johnson. It stars Jim Parsons, Rihanna, and Steve Martin. So it is a poorly animated movie about an alien who's on the run from his own people and makes friends with a girl. The girl's played by Rihanna, and he tries to help her on a quest, but he has to be an interference. It's a very stupid movie, and the thing is, like, the main alien played by Jim Parsons has this stupid kind of dialect where he speaks broken English. It's full of stupid jokes, bad animation, and for some reason there are 5 Rihanna songs in it, and the character played by Rihanna doesn't sing any of them. She literally listens to 5 separate Rihanna songs on her phone. So it's very weird. I think Rihanna paid for it. So whatever. But I would give this one big sauce can full of poop because it is not good. It is boring, and I don't like Jim Parsons. So there's that. And number 1 is Army of the Dead. We're going to talk about that very soon. If you want to see my full review, you can go check that out in the Real Boys, but you will hear some of my comments later. But yeah, that has been the top 10 in the U.S. today, and it's boring, really boring one.
It's never boring, Jack.
So you're saying they didn't figure out who killed Sarah in season 1?
They did not. No,
I couldn't get past episode 1.
Yeah, it's tough to get into, but if you, like I said, once you get past like the second episode, you're like, I understand what this is. It's cool, but not worth it, really. No.
There was no surprises this week, Zach. No surprises in the top 10.
No, when I saw there was a Schwarzenegger Air movie, I'm like, oh, cool. All right, let me get into this. And even that was kind of weird and gory, but no surprises. I think Army of the Dead is really just taking everybody's attention, so that's going to hang on there for a while.
I'm just glad it seems we have rid ourselves permanently of iCarly, and I'm happy for you, Zach.
Yeah, me too. I'm trying very hard not to talk about that show. I don't want to remind people.
It's
that
coming back. It's coming back soon.
I know. I'll cross that bridge later. All
right, let's get into the first show for the episode. Yeah. This is Invincible, an Amazon original cartoon superhero show. Howard.
Yeah, shocker. It'd either be a superhero or sports for me. But Invincible I found by accident. I was just looking for something new. So Invincible was created by Robert Kirkman. It's based on a comic book who created one of the co-creators of The Walking Dead, for those who don't know, or Berkman, sorry. And it's a really interesting show. 8 episodes in the first season on Amazon Prime. It is, it's kind of got a little bit of a feel on the happy side of the movie Sky High. One of the main characters, his dad is the most powerful superhero in the world, and in the first episode he's waiting and he gets his powers, so you're like, oh, it's a happy-go-lucky like Sky High was, but it gets much darker. In the first episode, the big moment is the father, who's played by J.K. Simmons, who's just superb as always. His character, Omni-Man, kills. This is no giveaway. This is the whole gist of the series. He murders the Guardians, basically the Justice League, Avengers, whatever you want. All the characters pretty much imitate members of the Justice League or the Avengers. And you go the rest of the series not knowing why. It is brutally violent and gory, but because it's animated, it's almost kind of campy in a way. But like, it's weird to say that an animated show is well acted, but the actors that are doing the voices
better than Barney Rubble.
Yeah, totally better than Barney Rubble. J.K. Simmons, Sandra Oh, Walton Goggins, Jillian Jacobs. It's really, really well done show. The animation is really cool. It's got a cool thing they do. Invincible is the son. His name is a superhero, what he names himself. And the first time in each show where they refer to Invincible is instead of somebody saying his name, they're about to say his name, and boom, they put the title up on the screen. And then, as I noticed, in every episode, there's more and more blood splattered on the title screen. There's some really cool twists. There's some great other characters, a character named Damien Darklord. It's just a really interesting show for an animated show. Superheroes. It's got that edge that it's kind of an animated version of The Boys almost, that edgy superhero show. I really, really like it. And I'm really, really looking forward to the second season. It's great. There's a couple of really good cameos in it. Seth Rogen makes a cameo in a couple of episodes playing a character called Alan the Alien, who's really funny. It's just a really good show, and I'm happy I discovered it by accident. Zach,
how many episodes? How many episodes?
8 episodes in the first season on Amazon Prime.
Yeah, I have to second that review. I really, really liked it too. I watched all 8 episodes, I think in 3 or 4 days, and I'm actually reading the comic book now just because.
Oh, nice.
I don't know. I just wanted to see how much the comic book is like, because it really is a crazy take on the whole superhero genre. Not that we haven't seen it before, the idea of superheroes being bad or, these incredibly powerful beings suddenly just turning on us and what's to keep them from just trying to take over. Like,
sure.
It's a really, really cool take. And Simmons is like Whiplash Simmons. Like, yeah. He is. And it's a great. He's the obviously the best part of the show itself, but it's brutally gory, and it doesn't pull any punches. No pun intended.
No. I forgot to also add in a few episodes another character, basically the tailor who does all the superhero costumes is Mark Hamill, doing an older man voice, which is pretty much his voice now. And Zazie Beetz, who played Domino in Deadpool 2. Plays the main character's kind of girlfriend in the show. It's also an extremely, I guess somebody trying to be critical would say woke. I would say liberal and real show in terms of, it's not overwhelming male macho superhero show jammed down your throat. They're very real characters. They tackle one character tackles environmental issues as a superhero. It's a smart show too.
Planets in this fucking thing.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to get back into it. I accidentally found it. My state of mind was day 2, second vaccine shot, in bed, headaches, mild fever. So when he wipes out the entire crew, I'm just like,
yeah.
You saw that and you weren't like, I need to know what happens next.
Yeah,
I was, but then I fell asleep. You know what I mean? I had this head, and so it was hard to focus on it. I mean, it was crazy. I mean, I enjoyed it, but I gotta get back.
It does walk this weird line between, because there's parts where it's just about this high school kid growing up, having girlfriends, trying to figure it out, and then it goes to just people being slaughtered. And the further you get into it, the less I cared about the high school story, and the more I was like, I just want to know why this guy's killing everybody. That's what I want to get to.
And every new character they introduce seemed to be another big name actor that you didn't know. Like they introduce a character 5 episodes in, and it's Mahershala Ali. Where the hell did he come from all of a sudden? It's I really liked it. I give it a high recommendation. Zach, you saw it as well?
Oh yeah, I love this thing. I was a fan of the comic from when it first came out. It's a little different than the comic, but I can understand why. The animation style is weird because it's kind of like Dragon Ball-y a little bit, where you can tell that's where they saved a lot of the money from the budget by getting such great actors, and even Jason Mantzoukas is in it, and he is a great. I second. I could not suggest this enough. I love it. It's super great. Very smart.
Very cool. Very cool. All right. Well, let's get into the one I think most of us have a lot of opinions on. Army of the Dead, the Zack Snyder follow-up to Justice League. Kevin Israel, take it away.
So I was excited about this one because one of my buddies told me that this was one of the top 3 zombie movies he'd ever seen, and I do like zombie movies. And I think enough time has passed since 5 years ago when I gave up on The Walking Dead to dip my toe back into that pool. So with Dave Bautista in it, after his performance as Guardian of the Galaxy, he's done a good job, and everybody's kind of lauding him as a almost a more serious action star than The Rock. And he's able to do comedy, and he's likable and all that. So I was looking forward to this. The trailers looked great. Had a cool cast. Just seemed like a cool, easy formula of a movie. Bunch of action guys going, kind of like Predator. It almost felt like it was going to be Predator, like a bunch of big action guys go into scenario just to hack some stuff up. And it's a heist movie mixed with action, mixed with zombies. How could you go wrong? Well, he did. And I watched it. I had to watch it in 2 sittings because I kept turning it on late, and which I think really just ruins a movie sort of anyway when you have to break it up into 2 when it wasn't meant to be. But I kept waiting to suddenly care about anything that was going on, to care about the characters, to care about what they were trying to do. And when you take the main thing they were trying to accomplish, by the end you find out it's not even really important. And it's almost like you've just robbed the audience of every reason to care about what you just watched. And a lot of it was nonsensical. There was 0 character development. Tig Notaro was brought in to replace Chris D'Elia after Chris D'Elia likes little girls. And they apparently shot her parts, some not with the cast. And it was a whole big thing. She was actually the best part of the movie. She had the most interesting character. She had the most development. You kind of cared about her the most, and she was funny and snarky, whatever. Dave Bautista had no personality or no character. There was nothing to him. He was kind of a dad who kind of cared about his daughter, who was involved in this. I guess he was an ex-military guy. That really wasn't clear. He was supposed to be a badass, but he never really does any badass stuff. And then when he finally has the chance, he gets the shit beat out of him, which sucks when it's the main character. The whole movie was just kind of let down. The most interesting part of the movie was the zombies, actually. They did something kind of unique with the zombie and the zombie cultures and what's going on with zombies. And they didn't really give you much. They kind of just backed away from it. And I've read a couple of books, science fiction books and horror books, that did sort of the same thing. It almost reflects the novel I Am Legend that the horrible movie was based off of, but the book was far superior. And it was a really great book. If you haven't read it, read it. It's short. It's good. And I thought this movie was going there, and then it just didn't. And it didn't go anywhere, like nowhere. By the end of the movie, you just feel like you were robbed of 2 hours. And I don't know why this has a 76% on Rotten Tomatoes, because it's not a good movie by any stretch of the imagination.
Does it pass the remote test, Kevin Israel?
No. And you know what? There was no scene that I was like, and I hate to keep going back to Predator, but Predator has like a couple of like just cool scenes where you're like, oh, I love watching them all shoot at the jungle, and when he picks up the chain gun and they all start like, this had no moment in it that I was like, oh, I'd watch that again. There was nothing that I want to see about this movie again. There was nothing. And then they introduced one character who seems very cool, and he's the guy with the chainsaw, and he does nothing. He does nothing. They never use the chainsaw to kill a single zombie. What? I was so angry about that. This movie, now that I thought of that, this movie sucks worse.
Have we gotten any further in answering the question whether zombies poop or not, though? That's all I want to know. Any further in that?
Hump. We know they hump now.
Yeah. And I would have liked some explanation about that. They could have delved into that a little more.
Well, the interesting thing. Well, I'm sorry, that makes it sound like I like this movie. The whole thing starts with a guy getting hit in a car and accidentally blows up this military convoy, which releases this one infected person, and then they spend 15 minutes in an opening montage. Was it 15 minutes? It might have only been 3 and felt like 15.
Well, but slow motion, so it probably was.
Right. And then they've managed to secure Las Vegas. So it's not like a zombie movie where it's like an end of the world zombie movie. It's just one infected place only. Tig, yes, they removed her. And maybe it would have been better for me not to know that they removed her, because it clearly seems like she was told that the movie was much more interesting, and what she was reacting to was much more interesting than what she was reacting to, because it doesn't really seem like she's talking to the people in the movie. It almost seems like there's going to be a ride somewhere where you can be Tig's character, and they're be just as flat.
That's a great point in the scene where they first introduce her, and she's like, $2 million, I got it. I was like, why is she so excited? And everybody else is just like, we're gonna go do this thing.
Yeah, and so, but they all kind of just seem to like just say their lines, and then so I guess we can give it. So the whole real secret plot of the movie is hidden in the name of the movie, which is Army of the Dead, which is which I assume they were trying to create in the first place, an army of these dead people. And maybe they're not dead in the sense that they are just, it's probably still alive actually, but just mentally, whatever, cut off to be a zombie state. Yeah. Not like a different kind of zombie. So they're trying to collect the head so they can recreate these things. Well, they could have just done this anyway, couldn't they?
They also could, like, once he got the head, he could have, like, where they walked into Las Vegas was right beside where they got the head. He could have just walked out, but then he goes back to the people that he was going to screw over anyway. Nothing about this movie makes sense.
I don't know why they didn't make it that they needed to get the Alpha's head. That's what it should have been, that you have to go get his head, because his head is the key to all of this. And that would have been the challenge to kill the hardest guy.
Here's the thing.
What are the odds we get a stupid Zack Snyder cut of his own movie?
Okay,
no, Netflix. Yeah, go ahead, Zach.
I was going to say, there's already 5 things that are already planned for this. There's another series that's coming out later this year. There's an animated series coming out soon. Dieter has his own spin-off series called, like, The Thieves of Las Vegas. And there's also, so if you watch the very, very beginning of this movie, it starts with 2 UFOs. So the whole thing about this is the evolution of aliens, which is ridiculous. But the thing that I hate,
I don't remember that.
Yeah, there's 2 aliens, and they make that whole the whole opening like thing is like, do you know where we just came from? And the guy's like, I don't want to say it out loud. He's like, do you think we have a? Yeah, we definitely have a, because we just left. I'm like, oh god, come on. But it's alien, and then like, so if you watch like later on, like one gets shot and is like a robot. Some have like blue eyes. The baby has like light blue veins for some reason. But the thing that I hate the most about this movie, the guy hires this whole team to break into his vault that has billions of dollars in it. It's your vault. What's the code? Why do I gotta break into a vault and have these gang locker guys? Give me the code. I don't need it. Just give me the code. Everything else after that was like, this is all stupid. Everything's stupid.
Right. It was his vault. There's no reason.
It's his vault.
He could have used them to go get it. That makes sense.
Sure.
But and not tell them that there was that booby trap.
Yeah, the daughter makes no sense. She was written in for no point. The reason the daughter walks away to go help Gita, who we never see ever again. The whole premise is that Gita left her kids there, but instead of the daughter helping the kids, she just leaves the kids also. So no, dude, everything about this movie is stupid. I hate this movie so much.
All right. Well, let's just everyone just be warned not to watch it. I think we've said enough. The only parting shot I would leave is, when do we all have to stop pretending that Zack Snyder makes good movies? At what point can we pretend?
Movies. When do we ever think that to begin with?
I've never forgiven him from Sucker Punch, which I watched in the movie. I think with Ron and Howard, we were in the theater. Yeah. To this day, I haven't forgiven him for that. Let's
made good films. He's made. You know what? Here it is. Ready? Land of the Dead, the Dawn of the Dead series, where they're in the mall with zombies. That's actually fun. I just rewatched that last night. Other than that, his track record is fucking atrocious.
All right, let's get back. Let's clean the palette and turn it over to Barb and Star. Go to Vista Del Mar, starring the wonderful Kristen Wiig. Kevin Gootee, take it away.
Well, that's a hell of a segue, because I talked about one shitty director and a bunch of films to another shitty film and director. Can we stop with Adam McKay making comedies? What was the last Adam McKay comedy that was good? Answer: Anchorman. What year was that released? 2004. That's 17 fucking years. He's much better at making biographical films. The Big Short is good, and I liked Vice, also good. But his comedy track record fucking stinks. In fact, he's on a Cal Ripken Jr.-esque kind of pursuit to continue making shitty comedies. Barb and Star go to Vista Del Mar. If you're not from the Midwest, this accent's going to annoy you in about 45 seconds or less. It's Barb and Star go to Vista Del Mar. That's exactly how they talk for an hour and 40-ish minutes. And the plot is just, it's Adam McKay. And by the way, guess who else produces this? Will Ferrell, the box office kiss of death. Let's fucking also call it as we see it. Name the last funny Will Ferrell film. Answer, it ain't Step Brothers. That film stinks. The correct answer is Anchorman. See, we all tie back with one big bow here, don't we? It's a story of two middle-aged women in the Midwest. I forgot what fucking state they're from. I don't care. And they get fired from their jobs at Jennifer Convertibles. It opens up kind of funny. They're sitting there talking on a bed, and this couple wants to buy the bed. And like, do you work here? Like, actually, we do. Okay, cute. But then they get fired because Jennifer Convertibles is out of business. And then they get a brochure from their friend to go to Vista Del Mar, which is off the southwest coast of Florida. And it just so happens Vista Del Mar is targeted by a female-ish Dr. Evil. I'm going to let that sink in. Who's also an albino and has an Uma Thurman wig from Pulp Fiction haircut. And has the henchman as a 12-year-old Asian boy. The laughs just keep adding up if you have an IQ of less than 35.
It's like a recipe for comedy.
Oh my God. And it's all the same cutesy poo. It's I like my culottes. I want to pack my culottes. You know what I'm going to pack for my suitcase? I'm going to pack my curlers. I'm going to pack a cheese grater. I'm going to pack my cutting board. And in case my shell's here, it's nonsensical. It's super character driven. And that's the problem with a lot of character comedies. Only a few of them pull it off with such a flair. Borat comes to mind. Anchorman 1, not 2. 2 is a manatee abortion. We all can agree on that. Right, good. But not many character films, even Austin Powers. Watch that shit now, guys. I hated the sequels. The first one, that has lost a lot off the fastball. A lot of character comedies they forget one thing. Ready? Jokes. That's the problem. They forgot to write jokes.
Kev, it looked like one long SNL skit.
Yeah.
Was that would that be accurate?
This is why you're my co-host. This is why you get to sit next to me every week. Yes, it is one.
Truly
this
an
is
honor.
like if they made another. This is like Superstar again. This is like another shitty SNL sketch film like Night at the Roxbury. That's terrible. It's terrible.
Like, oh, come on now. Night at the Roxbury is pretty funny, actually.
Well, we know where your tastes lie, and that's in the gutter. I see a Michigan jacket on, so I know exactly where that's.
Hey.
It's no Stewart saves his family.
Yeah, listen, the only acceptable answer is Wayne's World. Everything else is a vicious no. This is a bad movie. This is a very bad movie. And I got suckered into it because a lot of dumb dildos on Facebook said, this is funny, give it a chance. Well, I gave it a chance. Shame on me. I was busy doing work the entire time while this was on. Otherwise, if I was sitting down watching it, I would have turned it off easily 25 minutes in. This film stinks. Don't waste your goddamn time. And we're all going to now make a boycott for Adam McKay comedies because you know why? We all value our time. Thank you.
Kevin, that was great. I will say, yeah, that was excellent. I love your passion. Vice was a great movie, which I know you said was
great. Rewatching it again this weekend. Fantastic. Love
As a matter of fact, if anyone hasn't seen Vice, it's a must watch. It's a must watch in terms of how Cheney and everyone pretty much destroyed America. And I agree with you on Anchorman too. There is nothing. I saw an image of you guys on Facebook or on Google Images dressed as Ron Jeremy. Yes. Okay. So I went as Ron Jeremy once for Halloween, and I'll show it to you after. It's an entire poster. Each one of us went as the Thing, as one of the characters, and we posed like the poster, and then I photoshopped us into the poster. And it's like one of my favorite things.
Did you mean Ron Burgundy?
What did I say?
Ron Jeremy.
Ron Jeremy.
Yeah.
Because I was like, what is out
Ron
there
Burgundy, yeah.
Oh
Ron Jeremy. I'm sorry. That's what I was doing before.
Jaworski photoshopped himself raping a 17-year-old.
I mean, I do look like him from the waist down, but
Right, that's right. I'm sorry, Ron Burgundy. Yes, There's-
Hedgehog.
Very different movies.
my wife gets mad at me when I mess up one word and don't realize. Yeah. So Anchorman 2, though, I remember, like, I think one of my kids called us in the middle, and normally I'll never leave a movie, and like, oh, you need me? But let's go. And I even rewatched it because I figured, oh, sometimes your expectations are so high. I couldn't even get through it a second time, and even like the version, they had enough. They didn't know what they were doing so much on that movie. They had enough to actually make a second version of the exact same movie.
Because someone came on our podcast. One of the guys from Barstool came on our podcast and did Step Brothers, and actually Adam Glynn came on to do Anchorman. I like Anchorman, so I defended. But one guy came on to do Step Brothers in one of our sections called 5 Fun Facts. Did you know they shot something? I know the number's off, but it's astronomical. It's something like 120 hours of actual footage for that fucking film. Like, they're like, all right, improv nerds, go for it. And they did. And that film still stunk when they trimmed it down to a long hour and 35 minutes, because that film drags and is not funny.
So back to Barb and Star. I saw it and didn't like it either.
Thanks.
Although there were a couple of things, not enough to watch the entire movie, but a couple of things that were redeeming. I thought Jamie Dornan was pretty funny in his role. But Andy Garcia as Tommy Bahama, I thought was funny. And then the other thing, which is about 20 years.
The piano guy was actually funny. He was singing
Richard Cheese.
Yeah,
Richard Cheese, who was a radio guy years ago.
That's the problem, though. And actually, it's the same problem that Step Brothers had. You can't have a tertiary character blow away the fucking primary and secondary characters. That's a problem.
Sure. I agree with you. Yeah, it's not worth watching, but it did have a couple of moments. I'll give it that. So, yeah,
all right. So far we have done nothing but tell people what not to watch.
See, I think that's more of a public service. What we're doing.
Yeah,
doing this.
It is a PSA.
I agree. If we can save someone time.
Invincible was good.
Invincible, yes.
All right.
All right, but let's go Invincible. Just words that are good words. We had Invincible, and now we're talking about Greater with Sal D'Amelio. Sal.
Get him, Sally.
First of all, Jeff, thank you for inviting comedians on the show, because it seems like the show is funnier, better than when these pathetic actors come on. So thank you very much.
I like you, Sal. You're a wise fella.
First of all, Jeff, do you have any goddamn sponsors yet? I'm eating Germac pistachios, so if you can get them to write a check, I appreciate that.
I've been trying to, but Ice Mountain Water hasn't returned my calls.
Okay. Anyway, hey guys, I'm going to bring the show down a notch, because this is kind of like an inspirational movie, kind of a tragic movie, emotional, spiritual, and religious, but all kind of meshed into one. It's a story about Brandon Burlsworth, and he's a famous Arkansas offensive lineman. And before 1999, there had never been a walk-on for a football program to ever become an All-American except Brandon Burlsworth. So that's what the story's about. It's about him just overcoming. Basically, he's a big guy. It's kind of like, it's almost like Rudy. If you like the movie Rudy, it's very similar to that, except Rudy kind of had a lot more success nationally. But
except this story sounds like it's true. I'm sorry. Please go ahead.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. That was very. I mean, Rudy was actual. There was an actual person that did. There was a Rudy, but I think they embellished that story to make it. I don't think they did this with here. This kid was just basically his football career was just basically he was a big kid. He was fat. Unlike Rudy, Rudy was small and never really played. This kid was big. And but just sloppy and slow, and he just dedicated himself, became a pretty good high school football player, wanted to go to Arkansas really, really bad. He was a decent high school football player, got a lot of offers to smaller schools. He did not want to go to those other schools. He'd rather walk on at Arkansas. His mother had to get an extra job to pay for that year of schooling, and he had to prove himself to get a scholarship in that 1 year, which he does. He ends up working his ass off even harder, becomes an All-American offensive lineman for the University of Arkansas, and leads them to one of their best years they've ever had their senior year. Gets drafted by the Indianapolis Colts at the 63rd pick overall. Just a tremendous kid, a tremendous story. The story of the movie is not all football. It's about his relationship with his brother. his older brother, who was played by Neil McDonough. I know a lot of my friends here on the podcast like the Marvel movies. I think he's done a few of those, and he was in Band of Brothers. But he's kind of like the main actor, the star. I think he also executive produces it. This came out in 2016, but it's very, very inspirational. I really enjoyed it. Get the handkerchiefs out. You might cry a little bit along the way because it's right. We've all been kind of giving the plots away today, but this is a true story. So going in, he tragically gets killed in a car accident.
Jesus. I didn't know that.
Oh, hey.
11 days after he signs with the Indianapolis Colts, or after he gets drafted by the Indianapolis Colts. So he doesn't even sign a contract, which was kind of weird. There's a scene in the movie where he's kind of like a farmer, and he's kind of like Sean McDonough, Marty's his name, alter ego, kind of telling him just bad things about why his brother died and all this stuff. And one of the things he says is in the movie, and I had to look it up, and it's true. Boy, don't you wish he would have signed that contract before he died? Then his mother would have been taken care of, because he didn't sign the contract, so the mother never got a dime. But I want to look that up, because I think Irsay probably threw his mother some money, man. I just got to believe. I've actually met the owner of the Indianapolis Colts, and I think that guy took care of the mother. But anyway, that's another story. Yeah, I hate to break the news to you, but it starts out with his funeral in the beginning of the movie. It kind of goes back and forth through his high school days, his college days, meeting all of his teammates who kind of pick on him at first, and then he just overcomes that by just playing hard. Really, really good inspirational story. It's probably not as good as Rudy, just because of what Ron said earlier. I think they just embellished that story, made it seem so greater than what he really was, where this story just it's more kind of religious and spiritual, so it maybe doesn't have the bells and whistles that Rudy did, and that's why it didn't do as well at the box office. It was cost $9 million to make. It only made $2 million at the box office. I don't know what kind of money Netflix gave it. But anyway, I highly recommend it if you're just up for just a really good movie about a guy that overcame a lot. Unfortunately didn't get to see him, block for NFL running backs for many years in the NFL. It would have been fun to watch, but a really good story. I think everybody should watch.
Interesting.
Wait, so you're telling me that Rudy's not a true story?
It is, but Ron, tell him how many lies there were in that movie.
It's good. It's a friggin' cavalcade of lies. That thing. Here's what's true. He walked on to the Notre Dame football team. That is true. Everything else in that story is an outright fucking lie.
Exactly.
The last time I watched, my wife sat on Wikipedia reading me all the fake plot lines, and the main character, the Charles Dutton character, was totally made up, and she was doing it as I'm watching the last 10 minutes of the movie. Like,
Your wife sounds like a hoot.
Yeah. So can I just tell you guys about, and I'm sorry, Sally, I know this wasn't about Rudy, but now you got me started. About 10 years ago, I saw Rudy. My company hired that guy to be a motivational speaker at our national conference. And it was all I could freaking do, sitting on my hands, not wanting to say, how many freaking lies did they tell there, Rudy? Your story is making a lot of sense there, buddy. Leaving out a few details there, Rudy.
Ron, he didn't write the fucking screenplay. He just took the check. Relax.
Yeah. What's up with you guys?
I'm sure the producers of Greater would love the money that Rudy brought in. So that didn't happen.
He's not the one that made Jon Favreau say, "Who's the wild man now?"
That didn't happen.
Probably not.
That
if it did, whoever really did should have been shot.
You guys are ruining everything for me. I appreciate this.
Sorry.
It does sound like a good movie, though, Sally. Usually your recommendations are pretty strong. So.
It's really good.
Yeah,
really good.
Speaking of tragically killed, the drummer from the boy from School of Rock. Killed today.
Really?
Was he?
He got hit by a car.
Oh man! And that
Too bad it wasn't Jack Black who got hit instead. Oof, that would have been a better benefit for mankind.
Jesus.
Kevin seems
goatee's on fire.
I can't wait for everything to open up again, because Kevin seems like he'd be a blast to go to the movies.
Yeah.
And,
Kevin's been in the movies. He saw Tenet in the theater Labor Day. He doesn't give a shit. Let's put it like that. And that's done too.
you guys are too funny. All right. Well, we have one more show to talk about, and then we can go off on any tangents we feel like we need to. So the last one is always bringing a unique spin to the show. Geri Haji, Ron Lippett, take it away.
Geri Haji is how it's pronounced.
Well, I think I said it right, but
and I seem to be on a trend here of picking foreign films that are subtitled. In this case, half English, half Japanese, with English subtitles here. This is actually the first season for the Netflix series Geri Haji, which translates from the Japanese directly into Duty and Shame, which after watching this 8 episodes, hour for each episode, perfect name for the show, because everything about this story is a war on the moral compass of each character, how far they can be pushed to move outside each of their respective ethical boundaries. This series is directed by Julian Farino, which some of you may remember directed Entourage. So it's good. Actually, there's no humor in this movie, in this series, although there are some funny little side anecdotes. But it's a police and crime drama, and it's about a character named Kenzo, a Japanese detective, is sent to London to find his younger brother Yudo. This dude had been presumed dead, but later we find out he killed a member of the Yakuza crime family in Japan, fled to London, and becomes a murderer assassin for hire by the local London mob boss. Good story so far. Kelly MacDonald of No Country for Old Men fame. You guys know Kelly MacDonald?
Boardwalk Empire, more importantly, and she was in
Well, she was. That's right. She was in Boardwalk Empire as well.
And Train Spotting 1 and 2.
There you go. Good one, Kevin. Thank you. Appreciate that. She's the London detective.
Kevin's better than having IMDb on my browser.
I'll tell you, Kelly MacDonald. The thing about it, I didn't know her real well. I'll just say this. I was shocked to find out that her No Country for Old Men character wasn't actually how she spoke. She actually has a super strong Scottish accent, and she actually is truly of British descent. So I didn't even realize that at the time. But anyway, she's the London detective, develops a friendship with the lead character Kenzo. She herself is dealing with a bunch of life issues, which her newly found relationship with Kenzo begins to unravel. There are some great characters strewn across this show, which I think makes the show, which is why it's I think so interesting. They bring characters into the show that add a ton of color. They're interesting. They are. I don't think they fall into any of the particular tropes. There's an actor there named Will Sharp who plays a male prostitute that Kenzo, the lead character, uses to kind of understand the London scene better, because he is, as I said, Japanese. This Kenzo character is played by a gentleman named Takahiro Hira. You've never heard of him, but he is. If you Google him, if you IMDb him, he's been in about friggin' 15 big shows and plays in Japan. So he's the big star of the show. He's a really terrific actor. He plays a super dark role, which is on top of a fish out of water story in London. So it's a pretty complicated role he's playing. And I think it's worth pointing out, there are very few leading roles for Asians in major productions and American audiences. I actually looked it up because I was interested. According to American Academy of Motion Pictures, only 3.4% of films since 2007 featured an Asian or Pacific Islander, which is interesting. The notable exception of the superstar, who is it?
The Rock,
Dwayne Johnson, mentioned earlier. That's right. But I feel like after watching these 8 episodes, this guy is absolutely worthy of the role and the opportunity to star in this Netflix show. And I really do hope we see a lot of him in other productions down the road. His English is perfect. His Japanese is obviously perfect. He's Japanese. So he is a very interesting, flexible character. I'll just say this in closing, that the show mixes a lot of different styles of production. There's a lot of anime and split screen and letterbox style introduction that they move in to make various points throughout the series. So I would say visually, on top of the production, on top of the directing and the acting, the production itself, I think, is super interesting. It's an unusual style of production, and I think Julian Farino did a great job of directing this. So I recommend it highly. It is a weird, interesting show, but I will tell it takes you on a really great ride, and I felt really pleased at the very end of these 8 episodes, and looking forward to season 2, which I hear is now in production. So that is my series. I recommend it.
Ron, I got a question. How many tweed jackets with elbow patches do you own?
Let's see. Well, with elbow patches, just one actually, but I do have tweed. I do have a bunch of tweed jackets.
And how many reviews have you written for Rotten Tomatoes or Yelp? I'm going to guess between 3,500
Yelp.
and 4,000.
So check this out, you guys. Actually, this thing actually got 100 on Rotten Tomatoes. So go figure that, right? I don't know how it did that, but it did. That was one of the reasons.
Even Citizen Kane now has 99%. So
I know. But not everybody can be what was it?
Paddington 2.
Paddington 2.
Paddington, yeah.
Yeah.
Toy Story has 100% as well. Fun fact.
Yeah, and I still haven't seen Paddington 2. Zach, you were effusive about Paddington 2. So
it's a good movie.
Paddington 2 has 100%.
Yeah.
Paddington 2 is now the highest rated Rotten Tomatoes show in history.
It's a good movie.
The Rotten Tomatoes stuff is so ridiculous.
I can't figure
especially
it out.
when the different fan bases attack the movies.
And also it changes. I mean, I know it's an ever living, breathing thing, so it can change. I get that, but some of them change. Some of them go from 100 to like 60, like in a day. So that's
it's how percentages work, Ron.
I get that. Yeah, so that's how the math works there, Jeff. Appreciate that.
Sometimes when a few are in, it's kind of like the election. When you only count so many votes and then you count all the votes, it could be different than what the first votes counted.
I learned so. I feel like we've all learned something, Jeff. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good, man. So I like the show. I think you guys will dig it if you guys are into the whole.
Is it a one and done, or is there going to be a season 2?
Sounds like there's going to be a season 2.
Oh, you know what else has a season 2? Who Killed Sarah? I have to kind of say something on my British Bake Off journey that I'm on with my wife. We just entered the first season where Mary and the original 2 hosts aren't with the show anymore, and I'm not sure I love the vibe as much.
It's not as good.
It kind of
Mary and her soggy bottom.
You guys trying to bait us into something, trying to admit that we're gay. Nice try, fellas. I ain't fucking buying it. Sorry. Enjoy.
It is not gay to watch the Great British Bake Off.
Sure. Go tell that to a bunch of auto workers up there in Detroit as they have a happy hour beer at 5:30 and see what their thoughts are on the British Bake Off.
Yeah.
I love it. I love the British Bake Off.
I've never watched
and I will fight any mechanic over that show anyway.
It's a fun show. You cannot deny the fact that that's a fun show.
Oh man, am I gay now? Do I got to tell my wife I'm
gay? But when you said that, Kevin, it does remind me of one of the funniest, what I think is one of the funniest lines ever is, are margaritas gay?
From the intro, what was that? The canceled James Franco movie?
Yeah,
the interview.
The interview.
Yeah.
I watched the interview and I wrote a review of it the next morning, and then I because it was so controversial at the time and people were scared to watch it, and I actually got interviewed on the BBC.
As if Kim Jong-un was going to attack them personally for watching the movie.
No, it was attacked.
Go ahead,
It attacked my fucking time because that film also unfunny.
No, I disagree with that. That is a funny movie.
It's not funny.
That is a great James Franco Seth Rogen movie.
No, it's not.
We're gonna have to all watch it together, and I'll explain to you why.
I watched This Is 40 last weekend, and I have to tell you that freaking show is still fun. That's still a funny movie. Yeah. When Megan Fox asks what the difference is between a gay mustache and a straight mustache, and it said the smell. That line gets me every time. It's a good movie.
You didn't like the interview? I love the interview.
Nope.
Oh, you guys. I think you're just afraid. I still think that entire hack, when the Koreans or whatever hacked and that whole thing happened, I still think that is why we got a Spider-Man in the MCU. I think when it uncovered all the emails and the discussions that were going on, it then fast forwarded it and allowed it to actually happen.
Mm.
So
The butterfly
Tony
effect
losing the
here is
rights?
just mind blowing.
Well, they uncovered some conversations about it. So, well, I think we got, hey, gentlemen. Hello. Drinks, jokes, and storytelling on the Twitch channel. Hey,
that's
someone's watching. That means someone might be watching on Twitch. Oh, this is exciting. That means my report will say one. So this is so good. Kevin and Kevin, you guys were great guests. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having us, guys.
Hey, Kevin Israel, does Kevin Gootee ever let you get a word in on your own show?
I'm like a beaten housewife.
He speaks when spoken to. That's for sure.
I love him, but I don't know why.
I think we all feel that way. No, thank you guys so much. Give Kevin Gootee, say, plug yourself again, and then say goodbye to everybody.
At Kevin Gootee, Twitter, Instagram, but more importantly, guttingthesacredcow.com, GTSC podcast. We're on YouTube. Check us out. This week's episode is American Beauty. Next week, Joanne Nososhinsky is going to take down Citizen Kane, or is she? Following weeks to come, X-Men 2, Logan, The Social Network. Get ready. GuttingTheSacredCow.com is where you find it all. Subscribe, like, and if you do like the podcast, if you do decide to take that leap, you should. Please, for the love of Christ, give us a 5-star rating, 2 or 3 sentence review on your podcast platform of choice, and that's that.
Guys, we got Jen. How you doing? Watching on Twitch. Hey, what's up? We got the bucket list experiences here for the hey bucket list. We're plugging you. Hope you're. We got down to, I don't know what's going on. We must have caught fire on Twitch or something. I don't know what's happening right now. This is the most Twitch I've ever had. So this is very exciting.
Welcome.
So welcome everybody. You guys pushing it? Good.
Yeah, we're big on Twitch.
Are you guys big on Twitch?
Twitch and TikTok. You should see Kevin do the dance.
We rated you guys. Oh, they rated us. Oh, thanks for rating us. Well, for those of you watching,
I think that might be Mark Riccadonna. Drinks jokes.
I thought it was 2, actually.
So thanks for everyone rating us.
Is that you? Sound up in the comments. Sorry.
That missed the first 56 minutes. You can watch the replay. Kevin Israel, say goodnight.
Good night.
Howard Rosner, say goodnight.
Peace. Have a good week, everyone.
Zach, my friend, say goodnight.
Good night. Good night.
Ron, say goodnight.
Enjoy, folks. Happy Memorial Day.
Good night. Happy Memorial Day. Yankees have won 8 out of 10. Good night.
Yeah, buddy.
All right. And I am Jeff Dwoskin. I want to thank you all for joining us on Crossing the Streams. This was our 25th episode. Exciting to have the 2 Kevins with us. It would have been the 26th episode if we didn't take the insurrection off, not because we were there, but out of respect because it was happening.
Field trip.
Field trip, yeah. So thank you all. If you're watching right now, catch the last episode on Twitch. All the episodes are on YouTube. Search the Jeff Dwoskin channel. Love to have you. We'll be back every Wednesday at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time for Crossing the Streams. We're going to talk more shows in the future, but until then, we'll see ya. Thank you for joining us for this episode of Crossing the Streams, brought to you by scenesnobs.com and part of the Jeff Dwoskin Show. Your hosts, of course, Jeff Dwoskin, Sal D'Amelio, Bob Phillips, Ron Lippett, and Howard Rosner. Follow us all on the socials, and we'll see you next week and every Wednesday at 9:30 p.m. Eastern. Mark your calendars. We're going live and crossing more streams.